Agent Emerald, we have a job for you.
Yeah? What's up?
The Outback, as you know, is a wild and exotic place, and it has been untouched for centuries. However, we have recent news that a poacher with the name of Farah Blowhole migrated into Australia, and he's capturing endangered wildlife, which is of all means illegal. We need you to get to the Outback, restore back the fauna, and stop Farah once and for all. You up for it?
You bet your life I am. So I was sent to the Outback full of wild and exotic creatures to discover and save. Every day I spend is just another day for poachers to kill rare species that roam these lands. And here I survive 100 days trying to prevent this madness, trying to save the animals and avoiding disastrous bushfire. And on my quest I'll be setting myself with 3 objectives. 1. Save as much animals as I can on my exploration. 2. Establish an epic looking zoo and keep my animals looked after. And 3. Get rid of the crime syndicate poacher, Farah Blowhorn. Now day 1, I arrived to the Outback and I was sent down here with a survival kit. And it consisted of a few basic wooden tools, wood, 2 loaves of bread, an apple and fish. I made myself a crafting table, got my sources of light and headed off into the wild. First thing I needed to do was to find myself some stone. I wasn't going to survive very long in the Outback if I didn't have any basic stone tools. Once I had gotten all my tools, I went down into my hole to get even more stone. I was hoping to get myself some iron, but on day 1 I had no luck. However, with the stone that I had found, I created a stone spear and headed off. I found myself some sugar canes and noticed that I was running dangerously low on food. That is when I spotted this endangered koala bear, no doubtedly homeless from deforestation. Now that it was becoming night, I sought shelter and saw a cave with coal ores. But I did not enter. It was already a home of a witch. As I ventured in the darkness some more, I saw a herd of elephants, and for some strange reason, they were hurting. I wanted to help, but what could I do? I was helpless myself. I watched, wondering if the poachers were behind this. And with no longer than 10 seconds, the elephants, they were dead. I walked over to investigate, and there was definitely something strange in the air. Something that smelled like gas. When I went up, I found leather and meat. The meat would be super useful since I was in need of food. To get away from the gaseous air that was slowly poisoning my lungs, I climbed to the top of the hill and decided to cook the meat I had found. And even though this was Australia, in the Outback, the undead still crept from its shadows. I saw skeletons and zombies. I looked in my survival guidebook and I saw a crafting recipe for a rifle and bullets. This was definitely what I needed. And just as I read my crafting book, I slipped from the tree that I had climbed. There was a zombie just waiting for my downfall. I backed away, making sure he didn't give me any blows. And just like that, he was down. I waited my night off safely and then went on exploring into day 2. It was still early morn, but the animals had awoken. I saw loads of red kangaroos and I almost stepped on an anaconda. When I went on exploring further, I saw bisons around this waterhole. Well, it was a cave. I decided to go spelunking for a little while to try my luck on finding iron ore, and I was pretty lucky. Once I found 9 ore, I smelted them and made myself an iron pick and a shield. Then I decided to make myself a bucket. I mined all day, and when I came up, I found it had already become night. On exploring this place further, I saw a rhino and a kangaroo sleeping their night off. And just then I got attacked by another zombie. These undead creatures just wouldn't leave me alone. I took care of him and there came another skeleton. I thought I could take it on, but I was definitely wrong. It brought me down to just 3 hearts. I ran away and hoped it didn't find me. Before long, I found a village. It seemed so warm and friendly. Most of the kangaroos seemed to like it here. Here I healed up and read a book about animal care that Agent Mike had given me. It seemed I had a lot of work to do to tame the creatures here, and I knew it was definitely going to be worth it. Just when I was going to exit the house I had stayed in, a zombie attacked me out of nowhere. I had to fight it securely. I broke the glass and attacked it.
Food valiantly you have. You're free to use items from the blacksmith.
And just like that, I was granted permission to the items in the chest. I got myself some food and an iron helmet. It was then when I decided to smelt my iron ores. While I waited, the sun was already rising, bringing us to day 3. And before I went on any longer, I had to kill the skeleton and save the village from this peril. That is when I realized that I needed to make myself some iron tools. I made myself an iron sword, an iron spear, and an iron axe. I took a look around myself to see if any of the villagers could tell me anything about the poachers.
An animal sanctuary must be built to protect the wildlife.
The poachers here are mad fast, I'm telling you.
You mustn't meddle in things you can't change, child.
The villagers seemed to know a lot about the poachers, but I did not persist any further. There were villagers who wanted peace and for this cruelty of the animals to stop. I walked in further and I'm telling you, I found a lot of kangaroos. And the only way I was going to save any animals was to make an animal net. And from here on I ventured far. Sadly, I came across no new animals except kangaroos, toucans, and rhinos. Oh, it's a new message from Agent Mike.
Agent Emerald, how are you coping in the Outback?
Fine for now, Mike. I've seen no poachers so far, but I've seen some signs of their work here. Even the villagers say that the poachers aren't to be messed with.
Well, Emerald, just stay put and keep your eyes peeled. I suggest that you make a base there somewhere. I'm sending down a special creature that we found smuggled out of Australia. He's a quirky fellow. I wish you can find this little critter a good home.
I can't wait to see him. And yeah, that's a good idea for the base. I'll see what I can do about that.
Take care, Emerald. We're counting on you.
Thanks, Mike. I hope this all gets resolved pretty soon. Now when day 4 crept around the corner, I found a good spot to build my base. Last night, of course, a crate dropped down with the creature that Agent Mike talked about. And I found out that it was this adorable black spider monkey. I was gonna call him Spidey from now on. And during day 4, I literally spent my time building my house. I didn't want to make it too fancy just yet. It was a pretty standard acacia wooded house with a cobblestone floor, and it would have to do for now. I also spent the night of day 4 and early morning of day 5 lighting the whole area up. Things are looking good now. And it was this time on day 5 I wanted to make some monkey kibble, and to do that I needed normal kibble. And the only thing that I was missing was bread. I couldn't craft bread normally, however I needed flour, and I had plenty of wheat to do that. And to make flour I needed a mill. I crafted that super quickly and ground up the wheat. Then with the bucket of water I had, I created dough, put that in a furnace, and I finally had bread. Soon after that, I went outside and tried to kill some creepers without having them explode on me. However, I didn't succeed. I killed a few zombies and then went back inside. It was finally time to let Spidey free. He could stay inside for a little while until I built a small place of its own. And as soon as I let him free, he fell asleep. I also tied him up to a fence post just to keep him safe from the outside world. Rest well, little Spidey. You're gonna be safe from all these poachers. On day 6, I set off to explore and find sand. I decided to get some so that I could smelt it and get some glass. I saw loads of toucans and found loads more coal, which was absolutely great. And just when I climbed over this hill, I saw a lioness. She was by the riverside, looking majestic but ferocious at the same time. I also saw hippos on the edge of the mountain, and for a moment, I thought the lioness had spotted me. But I was wrong. I was safe for now. Climbing up a tree, I saw some bamboo and I checked in my craft and survival book to see what could be crafted with it. But there's nothing so useful, so I practically left it behind. Oh, that's a Komodo dragon. Wait, what did I see creeping over there? I went to explore some more and I saw a rat. Just then, a Komodo dragon bit me on the leg. This was definitely its territory, I knew that for sure, and I walked off wondering how much Komodo dragons the poachers had killed. Evening came pretty fast and shadows were falling. That is when I saw this little village. I entered and it was definitely infested with rats. Upon my arrival, the villagers greeted me pretty warmly.
Welcome, Agent Emerald. We have heard of your arrival to the Outback.
We hope that you can do something to save our natural habitat. I hope so, villagers. I do hope so. That was when I heard someone shout poachers in the distance. Before long, there was an explosion nearby, and I looked around for the culprit, but I could see none.
We had another attack like this last week.
And I knew that the poachers were after the animals that I had been looking at. I liberated the brown rat, knowing that it would be safe in the wild, better than being locked up in a cage. Then I captured the beaver. My animal net was breaking fast, and I needed to make a new one. I harvested some wheat, carrots, beetroot, and then went into a small house to craft some items. And here I made myself a fire pit and then a barbecue rack. It was then when I was attacked by the most vicious zombies. He threw some pretty mean punches, and even though I was hitting him back, his punches were even way more powerful. I managed to get around him and then ran into another house. The zombie was gone, and then I realized that the sun was rising up as well. I headed off wanting to explore further. I wasn't going to head home just yet. I wanted to see if I could find any poachers. I did find a lot of undead though. Zombies were burning, skeletons were cooling down, and creepers were just chilling. I tried to avoid a lot of them and ran away to a clear looking area. Elephants? And they are hurting again. I went to investigate again, and yes, there was definitely something foul in the air. I got the meat that the elephant had dropped and explored. I couldn't do anything much in finding the poachers. So now I saw more spider monkeys, and now I hope that Spidey was doing alright by himself. There's a brown grizzly over there. I went around to check it out, but I couldn't see it, and I pretty much left it alone. I knew it would attack me, even though I meant it no harm. And just when I explored around the corner, I was stunned to see another village. But just as I entered, I was greeted by a dark, brown grizzly. I avoided it and went around the village, and although these bears didn't see me, I saw them. They were sleeping right on the blacksmiths. Their homes must have been taken by the poachers. It was the only explanation. I went around the blacksmiths and I saw a lot of useful stuff. I found more iron ingots and a few more great iron tools. Just when I was sorting out my inventory, I could hear all the bears just roaring outside. It was quite scary but concerning at the same time. By this time, I had crafted a wok on a fire pit, just to give us some delicious dishes back at home. On exploring the village a bit more, I could see the villagers in a panic. I wondered if it were the bears causing this.
You must do something about the bears, Rarest Emerald. We are counting on you.
And I knew the only way to get rid of the bears here were to stop the hunters. And I had no idea where the hunters were. Were they in hiding? And would I be powerful enough to defeat them? As I went outside, I saw this baby zombie just attacking a villager. When I stepped up forward, it came after me, and with ease, I struck it down as easy as that. I heard more zombies and didn't want to stick around. But just as I was going to exit the village, I saw this tiger. It was deep in slumber. I didn't know what to do. It was just fascinating to see it there, but I didn't get too close. I just watched it from behind, and then without notice, it just woke up. I panicked for a moment, not gonna lie. I didn't know how much damage it did, and I did not want to find out. Day 8 struck. The tiger was still around, and my inventory was getting pretty full with items. I didn't know what to throw away, and it was just then when I decided to go home. But just as I decided to leave, I saw 2 deadly rattlesnakes. I was in need of food, so I killed them and got some reptile meat. I was definitely going to keep it in my zoo later on, but just for now I had to keep myself alive, if you know what I mean. On my walk, I saw elephants and kangaroos. They were just so majestic. One day I'll have them safe in my zoo, well looked after and cared for away from the poachers. Again, when I walked in further, I saw bisons, toucans and skeletons just chilling about under trees. And before long, I caught sight of the village that I had visited earlier, and as I moved on, I saw my cozy little house. And when I walked in, Spidey was happy to see me. He was all awake, and I'm pretty sure he knew that I was coming. First thing that I did was that I put some items in my chest. Then I put my barbecue rack and the wok on a fire pit outside. Then I put the reptile meat to cook in the furnace. And guess what I did? I started to make myself some actual food. I put some peanuts and sesame to roast. Then made myself a kitchen knife and a spatula. I stirred it up, put in a bit more heat, and then I put it in a dish. Now my food wasn't that bad, really. The peanuts and the sesame was a bit undercooked, and when I ate it, well, I got 2 effects. Weakness and mining fatigue. Gotta work on that later, that's for sure. And that is when I realized that I needed to make myself a backpack, and I had plenty of leather. I put in my crafting table and made myself a nice looking pack. I couldn't see it on me, and that was probably because of the mod that I had installed, Epic Fights. However, that was fine. I broke my dish and put it in my backpack so that I could eat it whenever I was exploring. Not much of a meal really, but it was alright for now. Here you go, Spidey, your new mate. I'm going to call you Phil. Yeah, Phil the Beaver. I crafted myself a data book because I was so darn curious to see these traits of the animals that I had found. And I was glad that I had Phil. His trait said that he was gentle. And I found out that I had to make ungulated kibble. That was interesting. And when I paged done, I saw it ate a lot of wood-related items, like really. And I had to craft either a brush or a tire swing to keep him really happy. Now beavers, as you can see here, build homes out of branches and mud. So that got me thinking, when I make a home for Phil, I'll definitely make sure to add lots of mud. Now time to check on Spidey. And wow, his trait said that he was quirky, and he definitely was. Teamed with monkey kibble, and his diet was just huge. It was then when I decided to make myself a hanging ball. That was surely going to be easy. I had dye and wool in there somewhere. Leaving that aside for now, I decided to spruce my kitchen area just a bit. Then I sorted out my items into my backpack. Finally realizing that I needed to make bread, I got all my dough and then my bucket, and I headed off to the nearest river and made all my bread dough. Then put that in the furnace. I love the smell of fresh bread. It was at this time I made a blue hanging bowl. I placed it outside and it looked really nice. It was at this time I decided to get Spidey outside. He needed some fresh air. And from here on, I spent the rest of day 8 just making a place for Spidey to stay in. It looked really cozy by the end of the day, and I hope Spidey loved it here. When day 9 came to, I decided to make a place for Phil the Beaver. I gathered all my dirt and made lots of mud. Beavers loved mud, oh, so the book said. the entire day here, making Phil's home look really warm. And when it was done, I placed him inside and he seemed to love the ambience, which was really great. And then on day 10, I decided the need to make a farm. I had a hard time figuring out how the farm was going to turn out, but I finally decided on this small square plot of land with glass on top of the water source. I built this till throughout the day and it looked really nice. And yeah guys, that's it. We have ventured 10 days in the outback right in Australia. It's been quite a turn for us here. We haven't sighted any poachers, but there's loads of signs of them around. Will I be able to stop Father Blowhorn after all? Stay tuned to find out. And to stay tuned, do make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to get notified whenever a brand new video comes out. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, and do make sure to check out our Discord server. It's tons of fun. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Drop a comment and a like, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. See you later, guys.